Now, Tori Amos was to a generation of young women who were teenagers in the 90s what Dory Previn and Leonard Cohen were in the 60s and 70s. Theirs was the kind of music you played late at night, feeling sorry for yourself. Well, she's just brought out a new album, Scarlet's Walk, which she describes as a sonic novel. It draws on the American tradition of writing about being on the road.
On my way up north, up on the Ventura, I pulled back the hood and I was talking to you, and I knew then it would be a lifelong thing, but I didn't know that we could break a silver lining. And I'm so sad, like a good book, I can't put this deep in a sort of fairy tale with you. A sort of fairy tale.
Tori, that was sort of fairy tale from the new album. Why did you choose this road trip genre for the album?
I was on the road last year, touring in the States. At the end of September, a lot of people were canceling, and we got emails saying, look, if all you do is sit there, just don't cancel, because we need places to congregate, especially at that time. So while I was out there, I just started seeing this character, Scarlet, weaving around me, and she kind of took over my body.
So what do you mean by the idea of a sonic novel?
Story through song. Maybe the Native Americans wouldn't write things down for a long time, and it would be stories by the fire, or the Irish stories in song by the fire.
You draw actually very much in this on your Cherokee ancestry. I think there are a number of references to sites of Cherokee massacres and looking for Indian blood. Why are you exploring these roots now at this stage in your life?
Maybe two things. I think that as I'm beginning to tell stories to my little girl who's 2, I remember the stories Papa, my grandfather, my mother's father, would tell me on the porch in North Carolina while he would smoke a pipe. And he would tell me about his grandmother who escaped the Trail of Tears. And it's all coming back to me. It's like he's put this computer chip under my skin, and it said, this will wake up when you're a mother and you will remember.
Well, there's a song called Gold Dust, which is about how having a child changes, I think you call it, the map of life.
And somewhere Alfie cries and says enjoy his every smile. You can see in the dark through the eyes of Laura Mars. How did it go so fast? You'll say as we are looking back, and then we'll understand. We held gold dust in our hand.
So apart from influencing this idea of telling stories, how does the child change your map of life?
Maybe the idea, if you're on a medicine wheel, you enter from the south as a little girl, and then you move to the west as you become a maiden, and it becomes about you and having adventures, and you look after yourself. And then it seems like now that I become a mother, I'm slowly like a turtle making my way to the north, and you're this nurturing force. You're not this meteor star blasting in the sky, but you hold a space for the others.
The other theme that runs through the album, there seem to be lots of questions about the identity of the United States, a sense of, in a way, the country having lost its direction morally. What inspired that mood in you?
What we were saying before, being in the States, touring, going from city to city, when the masks were down, when there was this emotional blackmail going on. If writers were asking those questions, political writers, then it trickled down to us little songwriters. If you were to raise those questions at that time, then you didn't love America.
This was immediately after September the 11th.
Yeah. And quite a few months after. They're even still trying to maybe push that one now. But as we all know, sometimes you have to ask questions. Yes, there's a time for it. But I feel like Scarlett, our character here, she had to turn over some stones. And some of the answers she was getting made her say how she's being represented, America, this creature, isn't necessarily who she really is. And she's at a crossroads. So it is a story trying to find out what America's really about, and you have to go to the Native Americans to kind of find that.
Your music has always been known in the past for its sort of confessional tone, and I remember the first album when you sang about an experience of being raped. Have you had any regrets, especially now that you're older and you're a mum, about having laid your life so bare in the music?
I don't know, Jenny. I think that my father said to me once, I'd written a song called Father Lucifer, and we were at dinner, and he said to me, I'm really hurt that you wrote Father Lucifer about me. And I pulled back from my chicken and I said, oh God, Dad, that wasn't about you. I was taking an ecstasy journey and I really had sex with Lucifer and Jesus. And he looked up and he said, oh, thank God. I was really worried there for a minute. So sometimes I write things and they get misinterpreted. But husband doesn't even ask, who is crazy about? Who are these men that Scarlett meets? And, you know, maybe he's some of these men.
Well, you did say, I think, your husband is now your producer and you record and work at home together. And you said it's like constantly having an affair with him. What did you mean by that?
Well, it might sound crazy, but because we started working together first, there is a protocol that we have. And I gotta tell you something funny. He's the engineer, which I could never be. And I wear the producer hat just because I get to deal with a record company, and that's not his favorite thing to do. But he and his partner, a Dutch engineer, they kind of shape the sound of things. And maybe after all these years, we'll look at each other, and if we need to take it outside, we'll take it outside. And we don't go below the belt. He'll look at me and say, I am not talking to my wife right now. His father said to him before he died, you know, you might want to ask your wife how she is, and then you need to ask if Tori Amos is okay. And so we have, he's got two women in his what would you say, in his private space.
Well, Tori Amos, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Jenny.